You ever hear a sound that changes your life? For me, it was the metallic snap of bolt cutters early one Tuesday morning, echoing down the neat rows of Willowbrook Estates, perfect sterile, all the houses matching, but not a drop of real community to be found. That was the moment a suburban dictator named Bethany Kensington Wright, our HOA president, self-crowned, self-righteous, went from being a local pain to a federal felon live on Maya's security camera, with me 8,000 miles away watching it unfold through a haze of desert sand and disbelief. Thing is, I'd only inherited Grandma's house 3 months before. The old place still smelled like tortillas and those little vanilla candles she liked. Every creak in the floorboards, a reminder of her voice, "Mijo, stand up to bullies, but do it the right way." That house was supposed to be my anchor, something solid to come home to between deployments, maybe rent it out, honor her memory. But you know what they say? No good deed goes unpunished, and nobody punishes a good deed, quite like an HOA president who's been in power too long and starts thinking she's above the law. Bethy, if you wanted to see her flinch, ran this neighborhood like her own fiefdom. Her husband Carl had the city council on speed dial, and together they'd made life hell for anyone who didn't fit their vision of community standards. My first run-in came as soon as my government-issued Jeep Wrangler Federal Decals Task Force property showed up in Grandma's driveway. Never mind that I was overseas dodging bullets and keeping drugs off American streets. Bethy saw a vehicle she didn't like, and suddenly I'm getting violation notices for commercial vehicles, fines stacking up $50 a day. Maya, my sister, she's a middle school teacher, all patience and kindness, tried to explain, showed Bethany my deployment orders, even offered to cover the Jeep. But rules are rules, Bethany snapped, and maybe this neighborhood isn't right for your family. Maya called me in tears, her voice shaking like it did when we were kids, and she'd scraped her knee. Only now the scrape was existential. Tank, she threatened to put a lien on the house. She said Carl's got friends in the school district. Like she could make my little sister's life hell if she didn't fall in line. That's how Bethy worked quiet threats, made up rules, targeting military families, especially if they couldn't fight back. She'd fined the Johnsons, a Marine family, for a loud motorcycle, ticketed Sarah Martinez, Navy wife, for having unprofessional garden gnomes. But Maya found the real HOA bylaws in Grandma's files. Guess what government vehicles, military and law enforcement included, were specifically exempted? Bethy was making up rules and betting no one would check. She'd built a climate of fear and silence, and everyone just went along. But I'm not built to go along, especially not when it's my family. I called in a few favors. JAG lawyers love this kind of thing, and it turns out the Service Member Civil Relief Act protects our property from exactly this kind of HOA harassment. When Staff Sergeant Patricia Williams heard the story, she looked at Bethany's threats and said, "Rodriguez, this isn't just an HOA problem. It's a federal felony. That Jeep wasn't just a car. It was loaded with surveillance equipment for cartel investigations, $347,000 worth of classified tech evidence for ongoing federal cases." Bethany didn't just break a neighborhood rule. She committed federal crimes most cartel bosses would envy. Maya dug deeper, found a letter Bethany had sent to the city, basically arguing military families don't belong, calling us transient bad for community investment. It hit me like a punch to the gut. She'd been trying to run us out for years. She wasn't just power hungry, she was systematically discriminating against veterans and their families, all so Carl's development company could scoop up properties for their next big condo project. Things escalated. A letter came threatening immediate towing. The fine print sounded official but was pure fiction, health and safety violations invented to scare us. Maya started getting stalked by tow trucks circling the block. That was when I turned the table. My Jeep's security system logged Bethany trespassing 17 times in 3 days, taking pictures, measuring, harassing Maya. She crossed into espionage territory, no joke. When my supervisor, Captain Sarah Chen, heard what was happening, she said, "Rodriguez, you want me to ruin this woman's life or just complicate it a little?" Bethany hired private security to protect the community, but they spent their time intimidating Maya, telling neighbors we were a threat, that military families brought instability. They even cornered Maya in the grocery store parking lot, asking her what operations I was running from the house. She started recording everything, God bless her. That audio with the security guard admitting they were investigating government equipment became key evidence in the eventual espionage case. Then came the real kicker, the morning Bethy decided to end it all with bolt cutters and a tow truck. She showed up, hair-while bathrobe flapping, yelling about abandoned property, while the tow truck driver looked at the federal decals and said, "No way, lady. I'm not touching this." Maya filmed everything Bethany's meltdown, her shrieking about community standards the moment she changed the gate locks and effectively took a federal law enforcement vehicle hostage. That was all the feds needed. Within hours, marshals were at Grandma's house, lights and sirens, Bethy still in her bathrobe declaring, "I don't recognize federal authority over private HOA property." I landed stateside 3 days later to find Maya trembling but unbroken, surrounded by stacks of documents, meeting minutes, financials, secret deals between the HOA and Carl's development company, proof of systematic embezzlement, forged violations, a coordinated campaign to clear out anyone who might stand in the way of the big condo buyout. Turns out Bethany and Carl had pre-sold nearly 50 properties to a developer, including Grandma's, at below market value, all while targeting the families least likely to fight back. Maya's teacher instincts kicked in, and she organized the neighborhood Vietnam vets, elderly couples. Families like ours collected signatures, filed a recall petition, and staged a community takeover. Her evidence became the foundation of a federal RICO investigation, embezzlement, civil rights violations, elder abuse, and more. Bethany's world was crumbling, and she got desperate, burning documents behind Grandma's shed, slashing Maya's tires, even bribing witnesses. It only made things worse. The day of reckoning looked like something out of a movie. The community center packed with neighbors, news cameras, federal agents. Maya took the mic, no longer the scared teacher, but a force to be reckoned with, and told the truth. Then came the prosecutors, laying out the charges like hammers, theft of federal property, conspiracy, mail fraud, obstruction, intimidation. Tom Henderson, Vietnam vet, spoke for every military family. "You want that Jeep? You go through 30 American veterans first." I got my moment at the podium. I looked Bethany in the eye, told her what she'd really done: compromised national security, terrorized families, betrayed the trust of a community that believed in her. The gasp in the room when I explained what was in that Jeep. Let's just say you could hear every lie she'd ever told crash to the floor at once. Federal agents cuffed her. Right there, Carl tried to slip out the back but got snagged by marshals. There's justice, and then there's poetic justice. After it was all over, Maya became the new HOA president, rewriting the bylaws to protect military families and bring real transparency. Bethany got 8 years in federal prison. Carl lost everything: money, position, reputation. Grandma's house became mission control for military family advocacy. Property values shot up, the community healed, and a new Veterans Memorial Park took the place of Bethy's old house, laughter and flags where fear used to live. But here's the thing, this isn't just my story, it's a lesson. If you're military, if you're a family that serves, you have federal rights. No, HOA can touch, and if you stand together, you can beat even the most entrenched corruption. So what about you? What would you do if your HOA tried something like this? Drop your own stories in the comments. Let's hear where you stand on justice, community, and what it means to fight back when it really matters. Hit subscribe, ring that bell if you believe in standing up to bullies, and share this with anyone who needs to remember nobody is above the law, not even in the most perfect little suburb.